Okay, we're going to get started now. I'd like to thank you first of all for coming. We have a short presentation on proactive alarm monitoring. My name is Lino DeFelice. I have with me today J.R. Bistoyoung. We're from Dynalink Telecom. Dynalink is a company that provides professional services around the Nortel environment and now the Avaya. We also do managed services as well. Today we're going to talk about proactive alarm monitoring. The first thing we talked about when we talked about alarm monitoring is you need to know the number of alarms on the Nortel as well as on the Avaya platform. The frequency of the alarms, how often they're produced, as well as the features and requirements that you would need in order to manage these alarms. We talk about scheduling and also the proactive part of the monitoring. On the Nortel, as you can see, the M1s have 15,000 alarm codes, of which 1,800 of them are critical. The Avaya has about 1,800 alarm codes on the communication manager. They don't have critical, they have major as their highest alarm, and they have about 600 of those. Call Pilot and BCM a lot fewer alarms. When we talk about alarm frequency, we want to know how often they produce alarms. The M1, the CS1000, option 11, they produce alarms on a regular basis every 15 or 16, 20 minutes, even when they're happy. Contact center, Call Pilot, the BCM, as well as communication manager do not produce alarms on a regular basis and need to be monitored a little bit differently to be on the proactive side. With the Nortel, since it produces an alarm every 15 minutes, we know that they're actually alive and talking to us. So we can monitor it that way. Some of the requirements that we found that was necessary for a good alarm management product was the ability to change the severity of an alarm. Just because Nortel or Avaya says it's critical, it may not be a critical alarm to you, as well as maybe a major one might be a critical one that you want to monitor. So the ability to change alarms is a feature you'll be looking for. Also, we found that an alarm type higher than critical. With 1,800 alarms, if you had to monitor all 1,800 of them, you wouldn't want to monitor them all necessarily 24/7. So if you can create another alarm set higher, you can create a schedule that you can run through the midnight hours so that a tech could be woken up during non-peak hours to only service very critical alarms.
Is this all about Nortel?
No, it's Avaya as well, sorry. I have a bit more understanding of the Nortel, but it works on both. We are working on the Avaya as well. So this is I'm from the blue side, so I know more about the Nortel environments. Oh, sorry, now I moved ahead. The other thing that we found was a nuisance, especially on the Nortel side, some alarms are repeative and continuously start coming out maybe every 15 minutes as part of the audit log that goes through. So the ability to silence those alarms while you're ordering a part or trying to fix a problem so that you're not getting emails every 15 minutes is another feature that would be nice to have in the system. The other thing we talked about was schedules, and the reason schedules are important is that if you're monitoring all alarms, all critical alarms, you may not want to monitor critical alarms through the midnight hours if it's not a 24-hour operation. You might want to silence those alarms until maybe 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning so the tech can sleep. Get those alarms prior to the operation starting the next morning and start repairing them then. You can also, with the higher alarm set, create those to alarm you 24/7 and only service the ones that are really mission critical and not just critical alarms. And the ability to hold alarms during maintenance periods. A lot of the dealers that we dealt with in Canada do the maintenance 2 to 4 in the morning. The people doing the maintenance are not the people who are on call, so if they're doing the maintenance, they're being texted with all these email alarms and stuff like that. So it's important to have the ability to snooze these notifications or turn them off while you're doing maintenance so no one's being notified of them. And then when you're finished that, be able to turn it back on, close those alarms out, and move on with monitoring that site. The other thing we talked about was proactive monitoring. Is no news good news? It's just that I haven't gotten an alarm. Is it really working? How do I know I'm monitoring the site? It may sound like of course I'm monitoring. I have a buffer box there, or I have this set up there. We found a lot of times that the boxes either have been hung or people took the TTY cable out, plugged it in the back of their laptop, did some changes, didn't put it back into the alarming box, and you're not getting notifications. So the ability to know that and alarm on that, we found to be an important thing. It happens more often than you think. The other thing that also happens is a lot of the places that we deal with, if the Ethernet's down, you're not getting alarms being sent out. If they're using dial-up and the 1FL goes down, again, those aren't coming out. The ability to monitor those is important. You want to know that you actually are monitoring the site, and that's some of the things that we've put into our system. So some of the things we've talked about, and again, we will have a question and answer period at the end. Talked about the ability to change the alarm severity so you can create your own custom alarm set. A higher alarm set, higher than critical, so you can create your own alarm set to work through the midnight hours. The hushing or silencing of alarms that you've already addressed, so they're not emailing you all day long. And the ability to create flexible schedules so that you can service certain alarms during certain periods of time, as well as proactive monitoring. Now, I got JR's going to come up here and give you a quick demo of our product. And after he's done that, we'll have a quick question and answer period. And we can answer those questions.
Okay, so this is a login screen for Vigilant. It's fully web-based, so all you need is internet access to access it. It is clean and simple design, and it's fully functional whether you're accessing it through a computer or through a smartphone. We also provide this in an enterprise solution. So after a successful login, it'll take you to the status screen. The third column component is a list of PBXs under support. When clicked, it shows only open tickets for that component. The client is basically who the component belongs to. As you can see, the majority of the components belong to Dynalink Telecom. Maintenance is used for scheduled maintenance on the PBX. Alarms created during this maintenance period are suppressed, and when maintenance is turned off, they can be closed or left open, depending on what you guys want to do. Tickets is basically the number of tickets that are open for each component. And icons under the PBX and or buffer indicate that no data is coming through, and this could be possibly by a TTY being disconnected, a phone line being down, the network being down, whatever your setup type might be. And this is where we ourselves have created a DLT00 alarm, which is our proactive alarm monitoring. So after clicking on the Dynalink M1 component, it'll take you to the open ticket summary screen. On the right-hand side, you have the ability to assign tickets, snooze alarm, view more information on the ticket, and add to the knowledge base, which adds more information to that specific event. On the left-hand side are all the same options, but done globally per component. Next, we have the event log. This is just a summary log for all the alarms that were received by this specific component, whether ticketed or not. And this log goes back 15 days. For the Nortel side, we also capture PBX maintenance data, which is such as nightly routines. So you could actually see that data going through. As you saw earlier on the open ticket summary page, you can add to the knowledge base. This is where the information is shown. This gives the user flexibility to add a procedure or a solution to the ticket, and also the ability for anybody else in the organization to see it. This is a great way to share information between the staff and also to educate the staff. As you can see, we have our DLT00 alarm and some quick 1 or 2 steps of what to do in case that alarm comes up. Next up is the schedule. This is just a quick view of the schedule just to see who is assigned to which working hours. We have 2 schedules set up, as you can see, a regular schedule and one that's called SOS. The SOS schedule is for mission critical alarms to be emailed at any time. So you yourself can create different schedules for different components to fit your needs or for your service level agreements. This is the alarm code section. Here you can customize alarms. You have the ability to move alarms up and down in severity and also whether to generate a ticket or not. For example, we have moved the severity of the BSD 080 alarm and clicked off to generate ticket. And if you remember our second schedule, our SOS schedule, which notifies 24/7 of any occurrence of this particular alarm to happen. Also, we noticed for the Avaya side, for the communications manager, there's a specific alarm, a CMG14, which means that your T1 is down. That is an informational alarm, and obviously if you're managing a switch, you'd want to know that. So you could change that information to SOS or critical and have it generate a ticket and go to the proper schedule. Just as an example, this is our SOS schedule that we did for our M1. But here, you could also, you have the flexibility to do the same thing as we did or just to change anything you want at any time. So, you know, if I change this BSD, one of them to SOS, and then we deem that, okay, it's not mission critical at the time, we could bring it back, make it not generate a ticket. Okay, so thank you, everybody. That's basically our presentation.